believe it or not. It's strange, and I can't see it, but that's some people's prerogative. And I'll say, don't hire people unless you'd want to spend all day, every day with them. This is very important. You might meet a superstar that could completely rock the technological world, but if it's a complete arse and terrible to work with, you can guarantee the rest of the team won't want to work with them either. And always, always bet on smart entrepreneurial people. When you're hiring marketing, perhaps when you're hiring support, you can hire people that may not have done this job properly in the past, but if they're good and if they're clever and if they get it, and they're probably a bit cheaper as well, then I'd say go for it. And finally, when you're thinking of building that team, build a team of peers. So what do I mean by a team of peers? Well, this is a quote that was actually given to me by Bob Gregory, who was the first technological hire we made post our VC round. And that's probably the reason that I hired him, was because when I said, what can you do for Huddle? He said, as well as making you a great product, I'm going to hire you a team of peers. And what we mean there is basically hiring a family where everybody is involved in hiring everybody else. And what that means is that there's an incredible sense of buy-in, that when somebody hires somebody else, they feel like they're bought into that person's success, and that there's no weak link because they've been hired and approved by 5 people. So, I mean, just to give you an idea about how we do this, because I'm sure there's probably, like me, a few entrepreneurs in the audience who aren't technical, but are going to have to do this. This is how we run our technical interview process. So the first thing is we do a telephone screen where a techie will speak to them for 20 minutes, just kind of go through a few examples and make sure we think they're worth bringing in. Because, you don't want to get somebody in for like a 2 or 3 hour process if they're crap, basically. The second thing is we do a paired technical test. Now, again, to quote Bob, written tests aren't worth shit. So what you need to do is sit them down with the developer and actually go through some coding. We use a very abstract test, which is the cafe example, which I think is quite famous. So definitely recommended. And then thirdly, we'll do a general interview. So that would be with me or with my other co-founder or with our CTO. And this is where we try and find out if we think they're going to be a good fit for the company. Because again, you don't want to hire a technical superstar if they're not going to fit in with the culture. And then we use what we call the 4-point scale, where the 3 or 4 people that have been involved, they say either definitely no, maybe yes, or definitely yes. And unless it's definitely yes all round, they're not in. And so what that's meant is that every single person who's in our team has had 2 thumbs up from every single person that's interviewed them, and we've got this incredible sense of family. But the idea of a team of peers isn't just about the technical team. You need to have that in the whole company culture. So the mantra that we have at work is bet on openness, build trust. And that is not only in our product, where we're talking about an open API and data interchange, but also openness in the company. So making sure that everybody's bought in and everybody knows where that's going. So what does that mean for us? Firstly, it means keeping the team in one building. All of our staff, bar one guy in Chicago, are in London. Our technical team are in London, our product team are in London, our marketing team are in London, and our sales team are in London. And what that means is that everybody is sitting together all the time. Everybody's working together. There's constant dialogue. Ideas are being bounced off each other, and that's really, really important. Now, I know that you can't always do that when you start off. You might have to outsource some development. You might have to have the team distributed. But I would honestly say, as soon as you can, get everybody into one place. Second thing is publish company roadmap and targets. Let people know what it is they're striving towards and let them know how they're doing against it. That way, if you are running behind in a month on your revenue, people will pull together and they can pull amazing things out of the hat. We see this month in, month out. Have a weekly company stand-up. We do this every Friday. 4 o'clock, the beers come out. We do a half an hour of work, and then everybody gets up, and we talk about what we've done this week, what it is we're proud of, what it is we want to achieve next week, and maybe what it is that we weren't so proud of. And that way, we're being completely transparent. We take open questions from the floor where anybody in the company can ask myself, or Alistair, or the CTO, or our sales director about what we're doing. What have we done this week? What have we achieved? What can we do to help them? But then there's also kind of making sure that the company is involved in everything. So getting the engineers involved in sales calls, get them involved in a marketing meeting, get them involved when you go out to see a customer, because you will be incredibly surprised. The things that often engineers say, well, that's not important, it's just a tiny little feature. But to the customer, that's the one thing that could mean that they are going to buy it or they're not. And likewise, get the product people, the sales people, get the management team involved in testing the product. That way they'll know it better, they'll know what the flaws are, and they'll be really, really involved. when you're thinking about what the next thing you're going to build is, this shouldn't just be the job of the product team. None of us here are huge companies where we have a specific product department. Get everybody involved, get them down to the park, get them brainstorming. All those kind of crazy things with whiteboards and post-it notes. Get them doing that. And finally, we run a 10% hack time, which has just started this month. The idea being there is that anybody in the company can propose an idea where we'll use 10% of the development time to build something. And that idea can come from developers, it can come from salespeople, it can come from marketeers, it could come from the office manager. And we'll vote on it, and the best idea will then get built. And that could be something for the company, it could be something that we do for charity, it could be something that we just think would be really, really cool. So the next question then is, though, how you find that talent. You've got your team, perhaps you've got one technical guy, but you need to grow it quickly. How do you go about doing that? Well, obviously, direct applicants are fantastic. You don't pay any recruitment fees. You might even know them. And we've used blogging, we've used public speaking like this, we've used Twitter to get some really great applicants. If that's not the case, LinkedIn is really good. We've got two great guys from there, and I think it costs less than £200 to post. You compare that to using a recruitment agent, and it's a tiny fraction.